The story of menstruation. Why is there blood on my pants? Mommy, am I alright? There's blood on my pants. Also, my tummy's hurt. Relax, you're just on your period. What is a period? The menstrual cycle is the monthly series of changes a woman's body goes through in the preparation for the possibility of pregnancy. One of the ovary releases an egg, a process called ovulation. At the same time, hormonal changes prepare the uterus for pregnancy. If ovulation takes place and the egg isn't fertilized, the lining of the uterus sheds out through the vagina. It will be called menstruation or period. To get started, there are some common but very important things you need to know. Firstly, the menstrual cycle starts with the first day of period and ends when the next bleeding begins. Hormone signals are sent back and forth between the brain and the ovaries, causing changes to the sacs in the ovaries that contain eggs or follicles and the uterus. Lastly, not every woman's menstrual cycle begins at the same time. Normally, it will start at adolescence, at around age 10 to 15 years old. The menstrual cycle will stop at between ages 45 to 55, referred as menopause. Phase 1, also known as the early follicular phase, is when you start having menstruation. The first day of menstrual bleeding is counted as day 1. From day 1 to 5, there will be blood passing out of the body. The menstruation contains mostly blood and tissues that shed each month from the uterine lining. Day 1 and 2 will usually be when most bleeding occurs. The body temperature drops down from 37 degrees to 36 or 36.5 degrees Celsius. The level of sex hormones like progesterone and estrogen are low during this stage, although periods can last anywhere from 3 to 8 days. 5 is about average. On to day 6, when the menstrual bleeding has ended, this stage is called the late follicular phase. The lining of the uterus, which we also call the endometrium, becomes thicker by the huge increase of estrogen and enriched in blood and nutrients, which begins to prepare the woman's body for pregnancy and develops egg. This phase is from day 6 to day 13. The next phase is for days 14 to 15. Ovulation takes place in this stage. Ovulation is the process when a single mature egg is released from the ovary into a fallopian tube. In this state, the body temperature is rising back to 37 degrees Celsius, and most of the sexual hormones are dropping down slowly, except progesterone that rises up to its highest peak of levels. Then, from day 16 to day 22, the mature egg journeys through the fallopian tube into the uterus, and the uterus lining becomes thicker or the luteal state. If sperm are present in the fallopian tube at this time, fertilization can occur. In this case, the fertilized egg will travel to the uterus and attempt to implant in the uterine wall. Therefore, most women's sexual hormones get back to the start point and prepare for the breaking of the uterine wall. For day 23 to 28 or late luteal state, if the egg was not fertilized or implantation does not occur, hormonal changes signal the uterus to prepare to shed its lining, and the egg breaks down and is shed along with the lining. Then the cycle goes back to the beginning at day 1, when menstrual bleeding begins. Wow, I have learned so much today. Thank you, Mommy.